Greetings everybody, it's me Knight, and today I'm gonna be talking about spiritual contacts, um, but just my experiences, and if y'all relate to them, then relate to them. But also I'm gonna be talking about like deities and goddesses, okay? And my experience with that, and if you guys are into deity work, this may relate. If you feel like something's reaching out to you, this may relate. And this is also, before you click off this video, this is someone who grew up strongly Christian. My family is still Christian. I have nothing against Christianity, anything like that. But I have to tell you guys, because of, since I was 3 years old, my contact with spirits, it really changed my view on Bible. It changed my view on Islam. It changed my view on just paganism in general, and goddesses and gods, and it changed everything. Because like I know a lot about the Bible and all that, but I see a lot of things that's controversial because it doesn't line up with the things I see from angels and stuff like that. So I'm about to tell y'all why I say this. From the time I was 3, not even that. I'm gonna just say when I was born. My mom had a lot of stress, right? My dad cheated, and he was dealing with some woman who was into some crazy stuff, which I'm not going to mention. But my mom was stressed, and she didn't have a lot of liquid in her wound. And when I came through her wound, the wound was dry, and I barely made it out of there. So I'm here. Then 3 years later, when I was 3 years old, I was in Germany. I'm walking up the stairs. My dad tells me to tie my shoe. I flip down the stairs, right? But as soon as I'm about to flip down the stairs, the spirit told me to put my hand over my head to keep me from busting my head. The spirit was like, no. It told me like just like that not to tie my shoe. And I ignored it to listen to my dad, and I flipped down the stairs, right? Luckily, I saved my life. I'm only bringing these little scenarios up. It's just been like that. I didn't ask for that spirit to say anything to me. And I was in Germany as well. And the spirit did not sound like my mother. It sounded like some like European Caucasian woman. It didn't sound like nothing like my mother. And I also come from a mixed background. I don't know if I told you guys this before. I have black, white, and Native American in me. My mom and my dad are both mixed. Long story short, I'm sharing to you again, even when they're being mixed, they still were Christians. My grandfather was a missionary. I've had an encounter with my grandfather who was a spirit when he passed away. When I was like, he passed away like 3 or 4 years ago, and he came to me, and I saw him, right? And I saw him pretty much ask me for forgiveness. It was like an angel had some type of judgment over him, and he had to ask me for forgiveness. Then 6 months later, he was on his feet standing. I guess he did some type of work or some purgatory energy, whatever he was doing, and he came out of that. I'm sharing this to you because this was a missionary guy. He didn't really do too much wrong in his life. And so it's things like that that I see. And then I had contact with the goddesses, right? I had contact with Hecate. I had contact with Isis. I had contact with Persephone. I've had contact with Lakshmi. And I've had contact with, who was the other one? Morgan, right? Heavy contact. But but this is all my life, unexpectedly, okay? No conjuring, none of that. Like, I noticed that there are videos of people doing magic and trying to tell people to do rituals, but I'm telling you right now, if a spirit's gonna reach out to you, it's going to reach out to you. If it wants to show itself, it's going to show itself. And even with me saying all these feminine spirits coming towards me, and masculine, but mainly feminine, even Ra, right? One thing they never stated to me is like, oh, I'm your matron or patron, right? The only energy that came to me the strongest was Hecate, right? And she showed up physically, in full form in this home that I'm in right now. I've had energies from her before as a youth, right? As a youth, like I said, as a youth, because I'm about to be 40 soon in like 2 weeks. But to see her fully manifest, right? My whole room turned blue like the moon, and she showed up. It was like, it felt like 15 minutes as long. I was laying in my bed, and she woke me out of my sleep. She showed up as a shadowy apparition, and she shaped into her form, and it was no. She made sure I knew who the heck she was. She made sure I knew who the heck she was, and then after that, she put her hand over me, and she put me to sleep. It was the most intense thing I've ever experienced in my whole life. And this is a man who's seen spirits, demons, angels, spirits that are unnamed, without conjuring. I'm gonna say it again, without conjuring, I am not possessed, never been possessed. I've had attempts on me, right, on my life, but never been possessed. Attempts though. Again, this, what my experiences tell me though, if that's just off the spirit's energy coming to me, whether because of past life or my contract in this life, what would happen if I really dug deeply into magic or something crazy? Now, don't get me wrong, I've done rituals and prayed and do all that stuff like that before, but this is like, I didn't start doing like prayers and certain rituals so after I've had all these contacts, because I started seeing issues with religions. I started a lot of issues. I saw a lot of issues with certain paganism things. I don't follow no religious archetypes. I think it's dangerous. I think it's risky. Like, I feel like it has guidance. I look at it as guidelines. Because when you pass away, you cannot take the books with you. And you can't be like, well, I'm sorry I sinned because I didn't read all the scriptures right. That's not how it works. Or you can't be like, oh, I'm sorry I sinned, but the devil made me cheat on my wife. You can't go, from my perspective, we reading off the text, there's no way you're going to sit there and tell God like, oh, I cheat on my wife because the devil told me to. Like, it tempts you. All spirits can tempt you. It's all to bring balance to your life, good or bad. But that's another story for another day. But at the end of the day, I'm bringing this up before y'all like get tired of listening to me talk. It's the fact that, like, my experiences, I just seen so many spirits. Even when I was in the military, when I was with the Marines and stuff like that on my ship, I see shadow spirits on my ship all the time. I made videos on this before. And again, they come to me at will. I've seen good spirits, even on the astral realms. That's technically the cousin of death. I remember one time I had a vision, like literally like a year ago. I swung at this spirit in the vision. And when I woke up out my dream, literally my whole arm was hurting because I felt pain in the dream. And I woke up, this whole arm, it was hurting for almost 8 hours. And it was hurting so much that I thought I was gonna have to go to the hospital because it was making me have my headache. And I didn't know what the heck was going on. But luckily it eased off. So I'm just sharing to you, that just shows me how close, if you really tap in, how close you can get to the spirit world. I'm a person as well who believes in miracles. I believe that spirits, angels, all angel forms are all, any spirit, what you would call them, demons, any spirit. I feel like any spirit can heal you. Even if you feel like it's at a cost, it's going to heal you. Because all spirits, no matter how dark or light, are all aspects of God. I feel God, omnipresent source, or if you want to call it mother goddess, I feel like it has this energy to heal you, but it's up to your faith. So I noticed that the stronger the person's faith is, if you immerse really yourself in spirit without any doubt or fear because of indoctrination that you've been taught by men, will get you to healing. But if you keep putting man's indoctrinations into you too much, it kind of blocks you. It doesn't mean you can't read books and stuff like that or read text, but I noticed there's a boundary that humans cannot cross because they don't learn to use their own truths. Because a lot of the authors that we're reading, whether it be from holy books or teachings you learn at school, a lot of that's from other men. And I'm a person who believes that us humans in this modern time can have the same knowledge as the people in ancient Egypt, the ancient Greece, and all that could have in Mesopotamia. But the only thing is we don't tap into it. And again, it's good to look at the text that archaeologists discovered, but we live in a world that now they have AI and now nobody believes anything. Nobody believes probably if I'm real, and it's just like, it's crazy. Nobody believes if I'm saying something correctly, and I don't really care. But that's not good though, because like, at some point, like I said before, at some point, somebody's gonna have to believe somebody. And other than mainstream media, you're gonna have to start believing stuff in the most popular book. Because I'm a believer, like, let me tell you what kind of soul I am. Right? So we got about 8 billion people. I just say, for example, say if 99.9% people believed in this one book and it got the manifestations, I would be the last one following it. I would be the last one following it. Only because, like, wherever they're going, I don't want to go. So, like, if everybody's ascending to heaven, I want to go to heaven, but I'd rather do it my way. It sounds crazy. Because it's just in my mind, I'd rather be independent. I like socializing people. I don't want to be connected to them. I don't want those soul ties. I think it's dangerous. It doesn't mean we all can't come together, but I just feel like when something's too overly popular sometimes, I just throws up red flags in my head. I'm not gonna say for everything, but it's just something I know too. Is traveling around the world, especially being in the Navy. I've been to all kind of countries, over 30, 40 countries. living in them, dated different cultures of women, and seen what kind of cultures they've been into. Some girls I've dated were like Hindu, some girls I dated were monotheistic, and it's just like I see what they done to their life, and it's okay, but that's them, that's for them. And my walk of life might not be for them, but I'm just sharing to you guys the spirit world, as y'all know, is real deal. And there's more spirits than ghosts and demons. There's more spirits than what you think is a so-called devil. And so more things that help us that are similar to angels, that are of the light, that are just not titled, right? There's so much more, so many things. And also, in case people don't know, and from my perspective, I do feel there is a if y'all want to call it a devil energy, I do feel it is a real thing, but I would rather look at it from the, not off that title, because the title, I look at it as like Seth energy, which is still the devil, from my personal perspective. Because I remember when I was in the Navy, when I was in the barracks, I actually I woke up out of my sleep and I saw a being in all red, and it looks like the devil, which you would see in the book. The only difference they didn't have horns was literally the devil, right? So I know these things are real. I feel like also, I said this before, in the spirit world, the divine feminine has a lot of power. Men have power, but it seems like the feminine has like a lot of rulership. I've seen women sitting at thrones. They're like goddess-like. It's deep, and I feel like the powers that be that run the actual earth itself, there's more energies here than what people think. And I feel like the omnipresent source lets things run its course here, right? Because we have free will. And I feel like when we pray, our prayers get heard, but there's certain things we have to learn as humans. Like, from my personal perspective, I feel like we will sin as humans, but I still feel like we have still flaws that we need to fix. Like, I give you an example, right? I feel like all humans, if they could try to, we don't have to be friends with each other per se, but I feel like we should at least respect each other. As far as like, if I have a neighbor, I might not want to be his friend, but at least respect his life, respect that he's here, respect his family. If I even if you don't agree with different cultures, right? You might not want to immerse yourself in different cultures, right? You might not want to date a different culture, but at least respect the culture. And something I learned through traveling in the military, we don't respect each other's cultures enough, and it's kind of like racist and prejudice. And I'm not talking about America. I'm not talking about like slavery. I'm talking about like, it could be an Indian man who might not like a Chinese man. You understand? That's what I mean. It's like, it's always something. And I feel like until the whole world can like move past looking at flesh and skin tones and people's genders, I feel like we're gonna always come back here. So I give you an example. You could be the best mother or father to your children, but what good is it if you can't at least be respectful to other people's families or other people's cultures or other people's way of thinking, right? And I think that's like a hidden secret that could probably keep us stuck here. You know, I'm getting in with this because yes, it's better than it was 100 years ago, but no, because from the spiritual contacts I've had, I know in my home I see different spirits. I have spirits that are like, again, yes, because I'm mixed. Yes, some of them are ancestors, but some of them are not ancestors. Some of them are like past lives. So like, I might see like a Greek spirit, and I'm like, why are they here, right? And so then I have my friend, God bless his soul, passed away in Afghanistan. He's Caucasian. He's helped me. So it showed me in the spirit world, they don't care about color. They care about your heart. So if they want to come to you, they're going to come to you. If they had a past life connection, they're going to come to you, right? But in humans, we just don't want to see that. It doesn't mean we shouldn't love the culture we're in, but we need to like really think outside the box, because I think it's a huge trap. That's why you see some wandering spirits that's around in abandoned houses. They're so stuck on the material world. They might not want to give up their house, so they stuck on the house, or they might not have been as happy as they was because they passed away in a negative way. And I know there's a lot of spirits that pass away in a negative way, as far as like, say if they take their own life, right? Or say if they're drinking alcohol and they hit a tree and they instantly pass. Some of them don't even know they passed, and they just walking around on earth looking crazy, just walking around. That's why, and same thing, people jumping out the windows every night at 12 o'clock. Like, you see, you've heard stories where spirits are in hotels and something, and they'll jump out the window because they committed, they unalive themselves. Again, they keep living that out because, again, that was a vibration they're in, okay? And there's certain things that they did that keep them in that energy. And it's not just like a devil or a demon, it's them. You understand? Like, there's also humans, when y'all go to the clubs and bars, that follow y'all and drain y'all energy. And they're not demons, bro. They're actually humans. They're actually humans that were living, right? They did not ascend to heavenly state, or really not even really a hell state. They're just earthbound. And they follow y'all around. and they drain you, especially if you're in a negative environment like a bar all day. And then say if you have an addiction, they will go through your vessel, because when you have alcohol, it may help spirits transfer through your body and sit there for a couple minutes to get the energy to get what it feels like to drink alcohol. And then when they come, then if you keep doing it more, then you finally will get demons, but it's going to take a minute. That's how it works. Then what's sad, if you keep doing it enough, you have a spiritual attachment and you don't even know it, and it will follow you. It's a part of your aura, and then your aura is tainted. Then you wonder why your life is messed up, your love life, other than you drinking. Say if you're in that situation, it's that. And so these are different type of spiritual contexts. It's not just about spooky stuff that you see on movies, how that play out, or things you read in a book, or Madame Projaxi, or people like that. No, there's so many things. Everybody, and think about it, I have nothing against those people from the past who discovered these, who's done this stuff, or Aleister Crowley. I don't have nothing against them, but that's their walk of life. Just like I don't have nothing against Jesus, that's his walk of life. But I feel like as humans, you have to come to a point where you got to understand your own truths. You can take bits and pieces of what they stated, but you need to walk your own truth, because I know for a fact a lot of the spiritual experience they had was not on my level, and what they're doing, I'm not even trying to be with them, and whatever y'all doing, not on my level, and I'm not on y'all level, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, I just feel like it's so many people following each other. Like following. Because even if when people say they have their own identity, do you really have your own identity? Do you really have your own identity as a soul? Do you? Because yes, we're all humans, but do you have your own identity as far as like how you found the truth of your life or your soul? Because yes, people can guide you, but like where are you though? You know what I'm getting with this? I always think like this. Like where do you stand? Can you think for yourself? Like I don't know. That's just what I see, man. And the biggest thing that I feel like humans shouldn't be doing when it's spiritual context is be fearful. I know it's easier said than done. Like I've been in hunting. Look, I remember when I was 19, I came out of college, and I said this story before. My dad bought a house he didn't know was hunted, and as soon as he left me in there, right? But no, before he went to work, let me correct myself. Before he left out of the house, he was clearing the attic out. He wasn't even there 2 days. He found the Book of the Dead and the Book of Revelations. And then the book, it had like Egyptian mummies and names in there of certain deities. And the reason I knew that because he threw it in the trash, and I was nosy, and I opened the book and I was like, what is that? So I looked at it, something in my soul said, put it back in the trash. And then as soon as I went in the trash, about 5-10 minutes later, the attic starts banging and booming. And it was spirits. It wasn't animals. It was spirits in there fighting and rumbling. Then the next day I woke up, the house shook. The whole house shook, and I live in Texas, not really earthquakes like that. So I'm telling you, spirits, if they want to let you know they're around, they let you know you're around. If ghosts want to let you know they're there, they will let you know, right? All that, everything. That they want to put you into sleep paralysis, because spirits can do that. It's not just because, you came back too early from astral traveling. Yeah, sometimes, but a lot of times it's really spirits. I'm telling you, because it's happened to me. I don't speak just out my butt, right? I'm too old to be just sitting here falsifying things for what? Right? I'm just trying to inspire one person out there. I don't really care about how many people who are watching this. I just trying to get one person to wake up, because like that's all it is. Because like I said this in another video, a lot of places I even traveled on my own. Even when I was in Iraq, North Africa, all these places, Bali, a lot of the best places and the best secrets and the most magical healing people, the most psychic people, I saw they were isolated, and mainstream people didn't know about them. And I noticed that everything mainstream that I saw in Bali, everything mainstream I saw in Europe, they were good. I'm not knocking their talent, but it wasn't as talented as the people I saw that was hidden out in the forest. People who was away from society. Kind of like when you heard those stories about the old witches in the forest, and they be out there doing what they doing. That's the best people to find to me. They might seem scary, but that's the best knowledge you're gonna get. The stuff that's not talked about. And if y'all think I'm joking, why do y'all think y'all finding scripts from the Bible and these old texts and the Mahadi text and all these books under the ground, under dirt, and inside caves? They hid knowledge all over the place, because everybody's not gonna be ready for it, and everybody who, if they were to get hold of this, they might misuse it, or it might be too overwhelming. If that doesn't tell you guys something, so I would really highly think about it. If we're finding texts randomly in certain parts of the earth, but yet we're following certain indoctrination that's mainstream. And of course everybody's gonna have miracles, because we gotta think about it. If one collective believes in something, right, hard enough, other than not discrediting the God's source, but if enough people thinks positive, you can manifest positive things. So like if one church said they've got miracles, because they have like-minded souls, though they're on the same vibration. Same thing in the occult. If you have a covenant of witches, if y'all think y'all the most darkest, evilest people, are the most best healers, whatever y'all think you are, if you have enough like-minded souls, your vibrations together will technically amplify your energy. That's how it works. So like, say if you have one soul that's positive, but he doubts himself, he cannot do anything against dark. Sorry to tell you, because that's not how it works. You have to have a lot of faith in the light, and if you're in the dark, you have to have a lot of faith in the dark. Like, I give you an example. If you think about mafia people, right? I don't give them credit at all, but the main reason people who are negative get things done sometimes, it's not just because they're doing negative things. They have a willpower that they know they will get the job done. And I know it's a lot of people who are in the light or more positive, they doubt their own gifts and they have a hard time, and then they wonder why somebody who cheated on them is having good things in their life. They wonder why the man who cheated on the test, how he's doing good. It's not because the man cheated on you. It's not because the person cheated on their test. It's because their will. See, people understand, a person can do low vibrational stuff, but if they have enough strong willpower, that chaotic energy, they can turn into something to manifest even something stronger than you, right? And that's why I try to tell people in the light, as a light worker, you have to have that same will, that burning sensation that you're gonna get it done. You gotta have that burning sensation that, yes, I believe in God, I believe in whatever you believe in. If you have a doubt, too much doubt, right? Because even though they say you have to have the faith of a mustard seed, you can have the faith, but where's your will, the trust that you have the faith itself? You have to have some type of connection. And instead of like keep whining and crying, you got to stand up and trust and immerse yourself in faith, like, and get through it, right? And the reason I said it, because I've been through a lot of dark times when I was in the military, whether I got psychic attacked, spiritually attacked, or even in war zones when I was in Iraq, outside Iran, outside the Straits of Hormuz, and my ship was sinking, right? This was in 2008. We got hit by a submarine. I had to have the faith, right? That I was just praying like I was going to get through it. But I couldn't have no fear, because what am I going to do? I can't jump off the boat. I have my gun on me. What am I going to do? Right? But I'm there. Right? Every mission I was on, I always had like some type of faith. And people could say, well, isn't your day? Okay, you could say that. But I'm still a believer. The more power and faith in yourself that you have, you go far. And the reason I learned that, when I was in the astral realm, you see all these tattoos I got? I got one that say, was it faith and hope, right? I noticed that one of my visions, right, I had like this psychic attack, right, and this one I was on the ship way before I'm doing this. They took every tattoo off me that had anything of faith or anything that would give me some type of hope or inspiration to keep going. So like, because a lot of my stuff is all spiritual, so they took my faith and hope tattoo off, they took my life and death tattoo off, they took my glory to God tattoo, everything that was spiritual, in the spirit world, not in real life. And because remember, the reason I know that, when I was in one scene of the dream that I had in the astral room, when I went into the room with the mirrors, every tattoo that had meant something to me was gone. And then I saw this evil looking spirit smiling, and that lets me know they don't like people that have faith, right? It's like they despise that, because they feed off fear. They can't get power if you have too much power in yourself to not fear nothing, to walk in the face of death and not care, because you know you're going somewhere. It's not about that you think you can go to heaven or hell. You just know you're going somewhere greater than they can ever put you in, right? It's like you have to have conviction, and that's why also amplifies your power. So like, say if you are a person that does rituals or practitioners, you have to have conviction in what you say out your mouth. Okay, and even if you're not a person into rituals, if you're just a person who's in religion, you have to have conviction and stand on that. You can't just sit here and be like, oh, redemption's tomorrow, I'm gonna be okay. No, you need to stand on it today, right? It's like, because like, you're tested every single day. Spirits even have told me I'm getting tested. They tell you literally it's a test. People want to say it's a lesson. It's a test. It's a test to see what you're gonna do. They want to see how you're gonna react. And if you pass that test, if y'all want to call it a lesson, you ascend. Some people have to go through more tests than other people because they assigned themselves, they agreed to do this, right? To pretty much break off negative karma faster. So it's like, the harder the life, the harder the lessons, the better. That way you have a better afterlife. The lighter the lessons, you might have to do more in the afterlife. That's why I tell people, don't be comparing people if they have more money or less money. Everybody has certain tasks other than what they might have done in the past life. You might not have been the best person in the past life. And how this works is, right, if you weren't the best person in the past life, you're going to have probably more spiritual context in this life, for sure. You're going to have some problems. And I mean by spiritual contacts, and not just about spirits. You might actually meet negative people that might try to rob you, hurt you, cheat you, and you don't know why they're doing it. It's like it's something in their soul, right? But in this soul, in this spirit and that you're living in now, you might be more kinder and not want to do the hurting stuff that you did in your past life. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of stuff I'm saying, I don't know if you're gonna read this book. There may be. I read books, but I don't follow people like I done told y'all. I just go with what's in my gut and what it was told to me, right? And this is something I didn't just thought about these 2 years just because I'm 39. I've been thinking like this since I was like 22 years old, as far as like getting this in depth. But I've always been a spiritual person since the time I was young because spirits would not stop bothering me. They would not stop talking to me. I've been baptized 5 times when I was before even 18. And not because I was doing anything negative, I just like to stay connected with God. But they still was talking to me the whole time. There's spirits inside the church. I saw shadow spirits in churches. I see light spirits in churches. They're everywhere. You can't get rid of it. Okay? Because we live on an earth, a world of duality. Right, and I've seen a lot of churches, so-called churches, especially in like Europe and the Mediterranean. They're built on top of pagan temples from back in the day. They're not telling you that. When I used to live in Italy, Italy is known to like build on top of old cities. Right, especially when I was in Vicenza, 45 minutes outside of Venice in Italy. Yeah, my dad speaks Greek. I told you again, I'm mixed. Right, and so I've seen a lot of stuff out there. There's just a lot of things I can go on with the spiritual stuff, and I want to get along with it like I'm just talking to myself. I'm kind of getting on a tangent. It's just I just want y'all, or at least one person out there, just wake up, man. Like when you hear people say, "Oh, this is mythology," don't just go off face value because the archaeologists say that. The archaeologist is not a practitioner. You gotta understand, if you're not on the ground, a lot of the stuff they're saying is the truth. But to me, it'll be more credited. I'll give them more credit if they're actually just of course they're archaeologists, but if they're also practitioner or also if they're like open to spirituality, right? Because we don't know if they're atheists, people digging out there. Because I'm a person that believes that whether it was Egypt, Africa, Greece, anything, these people did not just build temples just because they just for show. These people believe these things are real, and that's because they were real. Because if you're gonna say that the Greeks or the ancient Egyptians made these temples just because, we can say about the churches now. We have churches of all denominations from Islam, Christianity. So if they're fake, then what makes their stuff so much better than ours? If you're gonna say, if this, I hope this makes sense, because one day you never know. When we pass on, it could be 1,000 years from now, right? If the omnipresent source allows life to still live, and we might be the mythology. Oh, they like back in the day, they might say one day, oh man, they used to be Baptist church over there, man. That was their mythology, right? And I'm not denying the God or not disrespecting any Christians out there or Islamic people, and I'm just saying you don't know. You're making assumptions. Now, if you actually had a testimony where you actually saw Jesus physically form, that's good on you. If you literally had some type of power from the Bible, that's you. That's your path. But just because that's your path, you can't say you discredit anybody who might be a devotee to Lakshmi and they just happen to be born in India and you're gonna say they're bad. Okay, you can say that, but you can't though. Like you can't say it's not real. My whole thing, you can't say it's not real though. I'm not gonna sit here and claim whose God is better, but you can't discredit that. That's bad and this that, and the third. You're not in it though. And even if you see Hindus converting to Christianity, don't mean that you're still better because Christianity. I've seen Christians convert to Hindu. You understand? And even though people are not really worshiping a lot of like Greek deities, that you can't say they're not real, because how it works in the spirit world, once you acknowledge a spirit, literally, whether you feel like it's a god or angel or whatever, when you give something acknowledgement, it's already there. The energy's there. You're kind of like resurrected. You're pretty much resurrecting it onto your level, onto this dimension to really have contact with you. And a lot of times, people don't know this, right? No matter what your culture is, if you feel like you're in alignment with a certain spirit or a certain denomination of faith, whether it be Christianity, Islam, or paganism, it was already set up like this. It was already known. So that spirit that you woke up or called out to, whether it be Jesus or Athena or anything, it already knew it's going to come to you. It's going to come to you. You just got to notice the signs. That's how the spirit works. It wants acknowledgement. It wants acknowledgement. Okay? You understand what I'm getting with this? That's why, from my perspective, like when you look at monotheism, it's like no gods before me. It's because they already knew there's other gods. It doesn't want you acknowledging them and giving them power. It wants you to acknowledge the omnipresent creator. If you look at it from a monotheistic perspective, okay? Because that's how much power is in the word acknowledgement and the action of acknowledging a spirit. And once you do this, you get a bond, you get a tie, and it can become like a friendship for some, a companionship if they look at you as a lover, or they look at you as a child, depending on your soul's essence. And this is when I'm saying this part, I'm not telling anybody to reach out to deities. I'm just telling you how it works. How the stronger the connection, the better things get. But if you're just gonna go there and just ask for stuff like money and all that, which is okay, even with the omnipresent source, they know what you need. But when you come out there and just being needy, that's kind of like devils. You become materialistic and then you owe a debt because you're not mutual. Because to do that to a deity or even like the omnipresent God source, that's kind of like taking advantage of your human brother or your human sister. Meaning, you know that your brother, your sister, right? But you're gonna keep asking your sister for money or your brother for money when you know that like you should be more in a more, you should come to them in a more mutual way. You shouldn't just come to your brother and sister just for like something you need. You should always talk to them, especially if you have real love for them. If you really love your brother and sister, you should genuinely talk to them, not because you need something. And that's how spirits are. People get caught up because whether you worship something or nothing like that, that's okay. But when you just come in there because you need something, because you can't lift your own self up by your own free will, you might end up in a debt. All right, especially if you're talking to a negative spirit. And this is how people get caught up, right? And again, they made movies on this. There's probably books on this. Who knows? I don't know all that stuff. I don't look at all the text. I'm just telling what I've seen that was dangerous and humans don't realize what they do. Even with ancestor worship, like people be calling on ancestors. I keep telling people I don't do that. Like you already have ancestors around you. What you need to call them for? You can, no discredit. The only thing I would say, if you feel like you want to say something to your ancestors, just say thank you. I give you gratitude, and I hope you having peace on the afterlife. That's about it. Okay, if you want to turn some music on for them, fine, but I wouldn't go too far because like you don't know where they're at. Like, so I'm a believer that all ancestors probably did not ascend to the highest extent, and all ancestors did not go to if y'all want to believe, a hell state. Some of them might be just earthbound, or they just choose, they have free will, right? So other than their life regression, you know where they're at. So like if you keep hanging with certain ancestors, might not have been the best. Like you might have had an ancestor that was a player, right? Like an uncle, like literally just passed 10 years ago, you talking to him. You might start doing player activities out in the streets, and then when you pass, you end up with him. Does this make sense? Same thing if you keep hanging with witches, but you're trying to have a better life. But say if you hang with some evil witches per se, and say if they're evil witches, you're gonna be with them. You want to know where you're gonna go, you're gonna probably go with them. If you want to be a teacher, most times you're gonna be with the teacher and the ascended master. So it's like whatever your vibration is. If you're depressed, you might end up with depressed spirits. That's how I look at it, right? It don't mean you couldn't get out of that situation, but it doesn't. From what I've seen, it just doesn't seem that way. Right? It doesn't seem that way. Even though you're an individual soul on your own, it just seems like attracts like. Like if you think I'm joking, look at your friend group. If you're a person that's watching right now that's not a hermit and you have friends, look at how your friends are. You might start seeing little similarities to your friends where your friends might not be an actual blood brother or blood sister, but they have certain things. Y'all have certain ideologies. Y'all have certain things y'all like. Y'all attract each other indirectly, and then y'all became friends. That's how spirit works. Every angel that's connected to you that you cannot see, even certain ancestors, you don't have every single ancestor around. You might have certain ones. You might have 2 or 3 or 4 around, but that's because they match your energy compared to somebody else. So like, you might have a certain aunt around you, but you don't have your uncle. So say if God right now bless you to see spirits, you might think you got 20 or 30 relatives, but you might only have 2, because those are the only ones that really got a light heart like you. Because the God omnipresent source sees that your other ancestors, it's not that they're bad, they just not resonate with you. But then you might notice, if you were able to see spirit world, you might notice that you have a friend that might have passed away a long time ago that's watching over you. Kind of like how I have a friend watching over me. So you going with this? That's what I'm telling you. And he's a different culture. So you gotta think outside the box. Right? And then I started to notice I had past life dreams of different culture. That I was a different culture. I had a dream I was a female. I had a dream I was a man. I had a dream I was Caucasian. I had all kinds of stuff. I had a dream, a whole bunch. I had 3, 4 dreams I was a witch. I had so many dreams. I had a dream I was a healer. I experienced the most, a lot of stuff. And so, like, again, I'm not trying to force everything down y'all throat. It's just that, just wake up. And I just felt compelled to share this for one person that might be going through some similar experiences. And I'm not saying everything, because I have to hold back, because I am being told by my guys don't tell everything, out of respect for certain energies that are around me that came to me or whatnot. But yeah, because at first I was just gonna make this about like deities and stuff, but I just wanted to talk about spiritual contact just in general, whether it be people and all that. I give you an example. I work for a site called Everclear, right? I don't really advertise it on here because none of you guys are gonna probably call it anyway. But I've been working it for years, right? And so I notice a lot of the clients that I get, I feel like I resonate with them. Like a lot of situations they've been through with their dating life, I've been through that. So it's like my angels send me people who are similar to what I've already been through. So other than me having intuition, I can help them already even more because I already been through those experiences. Even if they're females or whatnot, I've been through those experiences, right? I remember one girl, this one was kind of spooky, yo. I remember this one lady, she had a son, he passed away, I think at like 13 or something, and his name was the same name as mine. He actually had the same first name as me, and he appeared in my room. And she was a nurse. I didn't see her in person, she was just on the phone, and the spirit was telling me what he wanted me to tell his mother. Yeah, but it was even creepy because not only did I have a certain energy that was the same as hers, as far as like, I feel like me and her had similar heart space, like we had similar thinking. But what was even more kind of like interesting was the fact that she had a son that passed away, that his energy was kind of like mine. He just was young and he passed away. And the thing about her, she was a different culture than me, right? But the thing, we had similarities. It's like like attracts like. You see what I'm getting with this? And so again, like I'm just sharing to you how like little things and stuff like that, I feel like you guys have to watch out for as well. Not that y'all not doing it. There's so many things how source guides people to us indirectly to help all that stuff. You know, getting with this, like again, like I give you an example, right? Even if, say if you, I'm gonna give you some example too. Say if any of you guys are going through any type of body shaming issues where, you know, you might not be happy with your size, whether you fat, small, skinny, short, or whatever. I'm just gonna use an example, right? Me, I used to I was okay with my body. I used to think I was kind of small, right? But then as I got older, I started to realize nothing wrong with that, right? And it came in need. And let me tell you why. One day, right? This was actually recently, a couple years ago, what 2 years ago, I was at the gas station with my mother, and this Hispanic couple who just came from the border not too long ago from Mexico, because I stay near Mexico. Their baby was stuck inside of an RV. It was a newborn baby, was like only a couple weeks old, and somehow the baby got locked in there. They thought that the door actually automatically locked, and the mother was crying, and she barely spoke English, and the dad was crying. They were trying to get people to get inside the RV, but everybody outside was so big they couldn't fit in. They was trying to break the glass, they couldn't fit in. So long story short, we broke the window down. Because I was small, I was able to slide in there perfect, like barely by an inch. To get in there, I pulled the baby out, and it was hot too, guys. It was like 100 degrees, so thank goodness the baby didn't die from heat. And I brought the baby out, busted the door open, gave the baby to the people. And I didn't expect that. I was just trying to get some gas for my mother. So I'm just sharing to you though, if I was bigger, I don't know if I would be able to fit through the window, because they had like these super small windows, so nobody can get through the windows. And the door was solid, nobody could break the door. But I'm just sharing to you, like, for all the times that I used to want to be bigger, I told myself if I'd been bigger, I don't know if I would have saved this baby today. Same thing, I was in the military. If I'd been too big, I wouldn't have got certain jobs done and certain tasks. So be happy with the body you have. As long as you're healthy, you're good, nothing wrong. So I'm just telling you again, now spiritual contact, even though it was a human, it's like God, source, omnipresent, put me there specifically to choose that gas station because I had no idea there was a baby stuck in an RV. Right? It just makes sense. It's like there's so many things. So other than ghosts, spirits, demons, angels, and all that, there's spiritual contacts with humans, good and bad. We all have a purpose to meet people at certain times in our life, all for a reason. And your body's made a certain way. You're in a certain culture for this specific time, and it doesn't mean that if you were to reincarnate again, you're gonna be in the same culture. That's not guaranteed, guys. It doesn't mean you shouldn't love your ancestors. I'm just telling you. And it doesn't mean your ancestors that you had in this life won't reincarnate into a different culture with you. Okay? And this is something I know too. I said this before. When I was in the military, one of my ships, we were called the Spartans, just like Greece, right? And I noticed there's a college over here that we have was called the Spartans. And then I noticed, again, me and my dad got stationed in Greece. My dad speaks Greek. But what's the chance that I have a father who kickboxed in Greece and all that? I wouldn't have knew that. I was just born into this. This makes sense. It's like it's already correlating, right? I hope this makes sense. Just like I know Italian, I had a past life. I had no idea that we were going to get stationed in Italy. So I'm just sharing. It's like spirits is always going to guide you where you need to be, right? And if you feel uncomfortable with somewhere, most likely you had a bad past life in the city you're in or country, or either you're just not supposed to be there, but only so long. So really check the energy, how you feel on that part of Earth no matter what country you're in, just really check the vibes of the country, or also you might be picking up if there was water. Like, so say if you live in Virginia, right, and you feeling negative energy in Virginia, you know that was one of the original 13 colonies. So there might have been a lot of war or conflict. So it's not that you're a low vibration or your neighbor, it's the land. A lot of people passed away. They probably fought a lot of Native Americans. There's a lot of negative stuff that happened there. It has a lot of negative energy, because energy never goes nowhere, it just stays. So somebody can pass away, but if there's drama in the home or drama on the land or war, you're gonna feel it. You don't get what, and then don't let the spirit still decide to stay there to protect the land and walk over the land. You're gonna be seeing spirits. Like like what was it? 5 years ago, I saw a cowboy spirit when I was in Nolaville. There's this place called Nolaville, and I was going to my sister's house, and it was just walking down the exit, and I had to pull over again to get a gas, and it walked up and it faded off in smoke. He had like a long mustache. Definitely didn't belong in the year 2000s. So again, I'm just sharing to you, man. Spirits, y'all should know they're real, whether you want to call them shadow spirits, demons, or whatever. And yes, I do respect all religions. Just y'all should know, I didn't want to make it like I'm blasting people. And I will say this: a lot of the scriptures, whether you want to call it the Bible or Islam, they do have some truth in it. But from my personal perspective, like I'm just telling you what I see. I just feel like there's a lot more to the world, more than what you read in the book. But if you want to use any guideline of book, whether it be the Bible, Islam, or some type of pagan book, hey, go ahead, whatever makes you feel good. I'm just telling you from my path or what I've been through and what I've seen, and also because of my life death experiences. When I came back, blacked out, all these things, what I've seen, and from feeling energy from the other side, and I just know what I see is just not matching up. It's not lining up. And I'll give you another example. One thing before I end this video. I don't like to talk about my friend too much, but God bless him, new love. He passed away in Afghanistan. My friend, he got ambushed. We were in Afghanistan, and they took him out in a bad way. And he left behind 2 children. And he was like, I think he's like 23, 24 years old. And I see him sometimes, and he guides me. I literally see him, literally. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that he wasn't perfect. So like during that time, I was strongly more Christian, like in a more Christian background, right? And I know that my friend, he would drink sometime. He would like a lot actually, and you know, he was did a lot of intimacy with other women. He was, I'm not gonna say a player, but he was out there. Caucasian guy, but really cool. My best friend, my first best friend I ever met in the Navy. He guided me. He helped me get my car and all that. And what was interesting, he used to pass out. He would get so drunk he would black out sometimes. He wasn't an alcoholic. He just, when he partied, he had to have fun, you know. Now the reason I'm bringing this up is, in religion they be like, well, you shouldn't be drinking, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, that's a sin. You shouldn't be having all this. You shouldn't have a lot of intimacy, that's a sin. You know, and I understand this, and I also agree. I feel like you shouldn't have a lot of intimacy because you don't want to have soul ties, right? You don't want to have attachments. But when you're young, you don't know no better sometimes. Even if you are religious, it kind of goes out the door because, you know, you have vices, and some men fall to lust. Now, the reason I'm bringing them up, if we pose to burn, if people pose to burn, just theoretically, if you're a monotheist, I'm not trying to deny y'all. He wasn't burning, guys. Like, so he did a lot of stuff that wasn't the best, but he did some good stuff. And then y'all can say, oh, he probably repented. Bro, my friend was not like that deep religious, but yet the omnipresent source allowed him to come to guide me in times of trouble. This makes sense? And it blew my mind. It blows my mind every time that you're just still here, like, what's going on? But yet my grandfather, though, who was an actual missionary, who I felt like, at least in my heart, I don't know everything he did in his life, I thought that he would probably do better than my friend because he was missionary, he's preaching. But again, he didn't have all the perfect qualities. I mean, he could have been a little bit more nicer to my mom at times, but he did what he could do. He was my stepfather, my step-grandfather, I should say. But when I saw him, he had a life review. They had him on his knees, and he was like, asking me forgiveness. And he was like looking sad. And he came to me 3 times, and I ignored it because the angel told me don't answer him. And then the final time I broke down, I said, I forgive you, grandfather, and then he disappeared. And I ain't seen him till almost like 6 months or 8 months, almost a year later. And then he was standing up, and it looked like he may went to some type of purgatory state or whatever he had to do, some cleansing in the afterlife, and then he was able to come back to me. And even then, he didn't say anything to me as far as, like, for me, he just said, I would like the family to get back together. But I thought that was interesting compared to how my friend told me. My friend told me, watch what you eat. I want you to get more healthier, my friend. But my grandfather didn't tell me any advice toward my health. He just said, I would like the family back together. Right? Because I guess he sees that since the elders have passed, the family's kind of getting distant. But see the difference, though? I don't have to listen to any of them because my free will, they just guide me. And that's how our angels are and spirit guides. And even if you want to look at demons, they can only tempt you to do something. They can't really force you unless you allow them to come through you and speak through you. Right? So if you're challenged, just be careful. Because I know when I'm challenged, at times I always try to make sure my energy clear and all that. And so these are different type of spiritual contacts I got. A lot of times indirectly, I don't call my friend. I don't call my grandfather. I don't call anybody. I don't. The only time if I've ever spoken out something is because I actually saw it show up in front of me and it stated what it was. And if I decide to talk on my free will to a spirit or a deity, then I would do so if I feel that it's right for me. But I'm not one to do that, if this makes sense. Again, I've only had 2 female spirits that were dominantly, like it was almost like contracted to me. It was like, again, slowly, which was like, again, I told y'all Hecate and this other feminine energy that I'm not gonna talk about. But I just can't express how this stuff is not nothing to play with either. You also want to be respectful, not out of fear. Some spirits, they come to you. You don't want to just be playing games with these things. This stuff is real, guys. This is not a joke. It's not a game. I know I'm not like a huge famous YouTuber here, and this is not because I'm a person, I don't like watching a lot of the other how can I say, YouTubers who are like practitioners and magicians and all that. I might follow like 1 or 2 other readers, but I don't really listen to other people's spiritual beliefs, because sometimes if you listen to too many people's spiritual perspectives, it can almost make you question yourself. It's almost like reading too many books. Like, it's good to read books, but like if you keep putting somebody else's knowledge in your brain, it's almost like you can't think for yourself. It's almost like you're afraid to believe your own self. I hope this makes sense. I'm trying to break it down. Like, I give you an example, like I have a father, my real father, right? It's like we all have one. And he taught me some stuff. As I got older, some stuff he stated to me, I don't resonate with no more. And so now when he talks to me, I respect his comments, but it doesn't do anything. It goes in one ear and out the one ear. It's because the fact that, like, my experiences as I've gotten older, he didn't experience what I experienced at 39. He didn't experience all these spiritual encounters. So when he starts talking about God and all that, I hear it, but it's not hitting me the same way because, like, God didn't put him through the lessons and stuff that I went through. And it doesn't mean I'm better than him. And it doesn't mean he's better than me. It doesn't mean I'm evil. It doesn't mean he's evil. It doesn't mean anything. It just is what it is. Right? It's just self-acceptance for what it is. And this is the way that God, and or whatever y'all want to call it, is showing me the way of life. And they're showing him his way of life. Right? And this is why I'm a strong believer. We shouldn't be dictating and forcing stuff down each other's throat just because we have a certain story told from people for the last 2,000 years. I think, because if that's the case, right, especially for my people out there who believe in reincarnation. So now on this part, just before I end this video, for anybody out there who believes in reincarnation, give you an example. Religion's good. It's a good guideline. But I hope you guys know, a lot of these religions been around for a while. So say if you had a life within the last 800 years, Christianity was around. And you might have been one of those ones that said redemption's coming back. And then you came back in this life. You're still here, bro. Just let that sink in. You're still here. You're still here. And a lot of religions had slavery, and it hurt a lot of people. And it's still going on today. And when we all leave this earth, it's still going to be going on. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. I'm just telling you. So, like, I don't think people really think about this. Like, I don't know if it's really setting in. Especially if you believe in reincarnation. Like, you might have been a time where you were a pastor at one time. And right now you're a follower. You might have had a time where you're a doctor. And now you're not a doctor. But at the end of the day, you had all these things, right? But nothing's really changed. We evolved technology-wise. But the same religions are still here. And even if you want to say there was redemption, you came back. And you might want to tell yourself to pretty much keep yourself in a positive mindset that you chose. I mean, to a certain extent, you chose. That's what you think. But then it's also, you know, the source is free will. Because you have free will, but there's also the free will of the divine, allowing you to have certain things play out. And if you think I'm joking, even if you look at your astrology chart, there's certain things that's already destined to play out in your life. And yes, you can twist it because nothing's concrete because of free will, but some things are already predestined for you to walk into anyway. I'll give you an example, right? When I was in the military, I didn't want to do anything corpsman. I was doing corpsman stuff, medical, working with the Marines. I didn't want to do that when I first joined. I got tired of it. I tried to dodge it. And then when I tried to change my MOS, as soon as I changed my MOS to something else, like with engineering, they still ended up putting me TAD, which is temporary duty, with medical field. So it's like every time I try to run away from my destiny, it's like something kept putting me back in. Same thing with weapons. I didn't want to work with weapons, and then I kept getting put back into weapons, right? And then that's because I had to heal a past life, because in my past, one of my past lives I got shot at, right? And I used to always wonder, why was I always getting paranoid around guns? And until I started doing my healing work, and I had a friend that did healing work, and then she was way older than me. She's a Greek woman, and she's like, yeah, it's because you got shot at. And this is when I was young, and that was my first time really thinking about all this stuff, right? But just like I said, she's my Greek friend. She's like my best friend. She's like a sister to me. She's like 7 years older than me. Now, it wasn't my plan to move to San Diego and meet some random Greek Italian lady, right? That was random as heck. I don't just meet random Greek Italian women in San Diego, right? That's why I'm saying it was divine. It was already in the divine purpose. Same thing when I was in the 5th grade. One of my favorite teachers, she was Greek, Miss Tara Torres, right? And my dad and my father and my teacher used to speak all the time. They spoke Greek all the time, all together. And they used to talk good on me, right? But see what I'm saying? This, it's like things are already playing out. And that's another way spiritual contact happened. Is like, because I'm trying to put it all together so I understand. I didn't want to just make this scary, talking about spooky gods and demons and stuff. And I didn't want to just talk about goddesses. I'm trying to correlate everything to show you how everything plays out. Like, I give you an example. The main reason, like, the Hecate energy, all that came to me, even though I'm a masculine, I know no offense, but there may be a woman or some men out there who might not believe this, right? But just like how women might have been hurt, there's some men out there who might have been hurt, but they just don't express it, because a lot of times in society, men are kind of shown that they shouldn't be crying, they shouldn't express their sadness or feelings, and I've been hurt a lot. I grew up shy. I was very timid. I didn't have a girlfriend until I was like, shit, see my language, until I was like, I don't think I really had my legit girlfriend until I was like 23, 24. Like, be honest with you. If that, I don't think that, they wasn't even a girlfriend, it was just a casual dating. I was extremely shy. When I was in college, I really didn't talk, right? I might have got attention from them, but I just didn't know what to say. And that's something that was inherited as well, because my mom was shy. I got that from her. Also, I just felt like growing up, every time I try to say something, people would shut me down. Every time I try to ask about God, they'll tell me to be quiet. Every time I try to ask about life, I would always get shut down. I get shut down, I get shut down. Then I got assaulted at 19, right? That was horrible at college, right? It was really, really bad. It almost made me not like dudes no more. Like, as far as like wanting to be friends with them at all, period. And so when I going through all that stuff, and then I also hear my mother, from her getting cheated on, and then getting abused by my real dad, and my sister getting abused, right? Hearing all her sadness, it's like I was an empath. I'm sucking up all her energy. And I told myself I would never hurt a woman. I told myself that. But then off of face value, women might think, oh, he's a player and all that, right? But that's because of face value. But they don't know my soul hurt. And so as I got older, I started seeing spirit guides, these women around me. And one thing is, though, even though I'm a male, it's like I might not go with everything that a woman go through, but I've been through so much abuse as a man. Just if I was a woman, it's like God made me go through stuff where a woman's supposed to go through. And so when I try to speak about it, people don't want to believe that a man has went through that. And it's horrible. And I have to have that in my brain that nobody's going to understand what the heck I've been through. They really don't know. And I'm being vague because I'm on social media. I don't want to trigger anybody who might have been through some type of negative, abusive situations. And it was really bad, man. And so it really made me have more empathy for women and men, even more. I was already empathetic, but even more, right? And then I was already shy, like I said. And then when I went to the military, in the military, you got to be stern, which I was. But I didn't want to, like, hurt people's feelings. I was a person who I didn't want to, like, break people down like I was broken. I tried to give people the respect as a man. But then I had to learn how to be more stern, which was good, being in the military, right? And then that's when, again, during that time in the service, that's when these guys came in again. I got to tell you, the women were always there because they already knew, I guess since the day I was born, that I was going to go through experiences that's not normal for a man to go through. And I was going to have some type of mental issues, maybe sadness and depression. And so a lot of the goddess energy that y'all would call a goddess and all that, or y'all might think she's scary, a lot of the women that you read in text, that like goddesses that are in Texas, I should say, that are normally supposed to help women and children only, they are helping me. And I used to question this. I used to question, like, why is this spirit that's supposed to be, that I read in the book, that's saying it's only going to protect women and children, but doesn't really like men? Why is she helping me? But then I started thinking about it, because of the situations I've been through. I was very naive, like a child. Like, I was mature, but I was still naive. I was too open to people. I let people almost hurt me. And so that's why I was drawing these spirits. They're very fierce female spirits, you know, that normally, from my perspective, would only protect mainly women and children, okay? And so it just blew my mind. At that time, it was hard to understand, because, again, when I started seeing these spirits, I was heavily in Christianity. And so I was like, well, I believe in Jesus. Why is this Hecate energy in here? I don't have a statue on her. I don't have nothing. So why is this here? My dad, my mom, nobody's doing this, guys. And also, in case you don't know, I wasn't doing tarot in the Navy, all right? And also when I was in the Marines. Because even though I'm saying Navy, I was attached to the Marines. So in case y'all don't know, corpsmen, they can be attached to Marine. So I hope this makes sense, right? Because Marines don't have doctors. They have corpsmen. They use the Navy as, how can I say, doctors. So long story short, though, again, back to this topic, though, being religious and having these spirits come to me, it's like, what is this about? What did I do? Again, I wasn't doing tarot, I wasn't doing no magic, guys. Make it make sense. That's what made me start questioning religion. Why is there spirits coming to me when none of my family is like this? None of them. And then some people might say, oh, it's a family curse. There's no family curse, because my family is doing fine. Like 99.9% of my family does not see all this spiritual stuff like I'm seeing. You get what I'm saying? So let that sink in. That's why I say this. Okay? And so I try to get people more aware and be open-minded, okay? Definitely. Yeah, because I'm a person, I try to respect all genders and all cultures. Because just like how people, no offense, want to be transgender and they feel like they can have the right to be male or female, I feel like I have the right to express all aspects of myself, no matter what I look like on the screen. So like I said, my mom's mixed, my dad's mixed. If I want to talk about my Caucasian relatives, I should say that. If I want to talk about my African American relatives, I can say that. If I want to talk about my Native American ancestors, I can say that. And I also got Native American land. I'm speaking up for all my ancestors out of respect. I'm not gonna sit here and be biased off of an ancestor just because I look like one aspect of one ancestor. That's disrespect, right? But a lot of us don't think that deeply. We don't think that deeply about our own roots, right? Because I always try to find out a way, when I have these spiritual contacts, how can I do as much as possible not to come back down here again unless I choose to, okay? Because of course the source can send me back, but I've been reflecting so much on certain lives I lived, and also I look at how people act with each other. I look how my neighbors act, my friends, social media. It's kind of chaotic, and it's just like it's out of hand. And so again, like, I just feel like people are going against each other's free will a little bit too much. Everybody's thinking they're giving each other freedom or not, right? And then it's also ruffling the feathers of the spirits, because every soul that you're talking to, whether you want, like an example, right? If you want to know why your dating life is messed up, sometimes it's not that, it's just you and your negative karma. And this is something I don't really hear a lot of people talking about. It's not just you and your karma. It's not just because, okay, I chose the bad man or woman. Sometimes, I said this before, I think, in one of my videos, sometimes your spirits, right, don't like the person that you're talking to, and the spirits around your person don't like the spirits around you. So it doesn't mean your ancestors are bad, but certain ancestors don't get along with other ancestors that you're trying to talk to. So like, say if you're talking to a man, your ancestors might not agree with his bloodline. It doesn't mean they're like prejudiced or nothing like that. They just don't agree with them. And then they also see that the person you're trying to talk to has negative qualities. So they're trying to give you signs to leave him. And so when you don't, the person that you're talking to, they might have a negative attachment, so they might be more likely to cheat. So other than your spirit showing you signs, this person's going to cheat, because even though his family bloodline might not be perfect, he has an attachment of lust. So he might mess around and now you're hurt. So you shouldn't just think too bad about yourself like you're a bad woman or man or whatever. It's just all that combined is breaking this person down. So what you need to do as a soul is use your discernment before you let anybody in your life, and before you just give up on love and say, oh, all men ain't nothing, or all women are nothing. I mean, you can live alone if you want to forever, but at the end of the day, I'm just trying to give y'all some advice of like, it's deeper than just, oh, this person has like he just has like lustful feelings and he doesn't know how to treat women. Okay, yeah, that's probably so, but there's also like spiritual attachments, intrusive thoughts making this person act out in certain ways. You don't get in with this. Also, you don't know how much air he has in his chart, how much water he has in his chart. If he has a lot of air in his chart, if it's not balanced, he might be have mental problems. You know, get in with this. Like so many past lives, he could have done people wrong, and it's his time to get this all out. These lustful energies. It's a lot, guys. You gotta look deep, 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 deep. Right? Because like again, I'm a person. If I was to read a book, I read past the lines of what I see. I try to tap into, was the author authentic, or is he just talking out his butt? You know, I'm getting at with this like. This is how I look at it, you know. But I don't want to make this too long with it, guys. Trying to make sure I'm saying everything, because again, I can only speak off my experiences. Like I said again, if any of my experiences resonate with you, so be it. I'm happy if it did. To know that y'all not the only ones. I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one out here like that. I just look at everything in a bigger perspective. Because like I said, I remember when we didn't have an iPhone. I remember when we didn't have no phones. We had the dial-up phones, and I just see how far we've come with technology, and I see how people have changed. I remember when there was a time people didn't like talking about aliens, and now people can talk about aliens, right? And then being in the military, I see weird craft that I'm not gonna talk about on this phone and stuff, and it just blows my mind, right? And it just changed my whole spiritual perspective, right? I just don't like when people try to see me. I speak on experiences. I'm not trying to push my views on you. So I hope this makes sense, guys. So don't take this wrong. I'm only sharing my perspective and what I've seen. If you feel like you resonate, that's fine. But one thing I'm trying not to do with y'all or anybody, even if I never had this channel, is to be a dictator and force things into people. Like, oh, the world's going to end. I'm not going to ever say nothing like that. Right? I might say there's signs of warnings. I'm not going to sit here and do some crazy stuff. Because I just feel like nobody is like God, bro. Like, even if I channel messages, right? Because I ain't gonna lie, I have seen visions of war, yes. But even in my visions of war, the spirits never told me there was the end of the world. Like, when I got out, I saw a vision of war. Like, before Russia went to Ukraine, I had a vision of that in 2017. When I was outside of Korea, when Kim Jong was shooting missiles in Japan, I was stationed in Japan. And my ship was the first ship to get sent out that we were about to light them up. We had 75 Tomahawks ready to go. So long as it's sure, I saw it all, right? Again, but they never told me it was the end of the world. They just said this is going to happen. They told me people are going to think it's the end of the world, but no, it's just conflict that has to happen because humanity has certain karma and lessons it has to go through. But when you talk to religious people, they're going to just go in there and jump the gun and assume it's just the end of times to keep speaking that negative affirmations. Okay? And so what people don't understand, the more you speak negative affirmations, just like how you speak positive, you actually manifest it. So yes, there are scriptures that have power. Yes, there are Islamic books that have power. Even Hindu books have power. But the thing about it is about your conviction, how much you believe it. So the more you believe it, the more it has power. That's how you give something life. And then when you also, on the negative side of it, even if you say you don't like the devil and all that, the more you put fear in it, like, oh, the devil made me do this and all that, you're giving it power. You're giving it an invisible energy power. Okay? You're giving things power. Even if you don't know the end times, the more you speak on war, you are no better than the people trying to give war to America or any other country. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, it's bad enough that certain governments don't like each other in certain countries, but when the country itself speaks on its own government, and even though it may be corrupt, I'm a person, right? Even if I know the world's corrupt, I always try to be cautious on, how can I say, how I speak about it, though. I don't want to add on, like, I don't want to add negative, I don't want to add more negative energy to the country that's negative. So, like, if the country is bad, I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to just keep validating that it's bad and, yeah, the country I live in is going to end. As soon as I make that statement, I don't know, in my own mind, there might be 100,000 other people that same day or that whole month, they might have said, yeah, this country's going to end. Now, because of us as a collective all said this country's going to end, even if we're the most powerful country, those negative affirmations can add on to our downfall. And then say if there's other hating countries that say, I want that country to end, it manifested that. Do you not understand this? So even if you're a person who doesn't have a weapon, your negative words just manifested destruction upon human lives. And I feel like humanity will be judged for that. That's how easy it was. That's how the world's unbalanced. And that's why they have these gender wars and all these stuff that you see on social media. They all do it to trigger our conscious and our subconscious. And the sad thing is our subconscious does not know any better. When they hear is I don't love somebody, it's technically, you might say I don't love this man, but it's also thinking like you don't love your angels, because it doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. It's just open. That's why the subconscious is chaotic. It's not like the conscious. So you have to be careful what you say. Okay. But again, I just want to, and that's spiritual content. Y'all might be wondering how that spiritual content is, because if you speak something, it comes from the thought, something you cannot see, which is out of you, and then you speak it into existence, right? And once you speak it into existence, that energy gravitates to something. It can gravitate to another soul. It can gravitate to the earth, right? And it causes chaos, or it can cause love. And that's spiritual contact, because when you're speaking, you're affecting somebody. If I say I hate somebody, it affects somebody, it hits me. It's spiritual contact. And if that person has a negative attachment to an actual spirit or a positive spirit, it can affect them right or wrong, good or bad. Same thing with an animal, all that. So this is my video on different types of spiritual contacts and the experiences I've been through. Sorry if I got long-winded. I just was in a very talkative mood tonight. I had no idea at all I was going to make this video, and forgive me guys if you see me make videos similar to this. If you heard one or two stories that are similar to my past, it's just that I noticed I got some new people in here and I just want to bring it out, and I just felt compelled to say it in just a different slight way. And I definitely I could have went deeper. It's just that out of respect for my own self, I need my own privacy about my life, and also out of respect for some of the spirits around me that guide me, I don't want to like let people know all that, because of the fact that it's just respect. I just feel like everything's not meant to be known for everybody. It's like, just like I found my truth, you should find your own truth. Because I'm a person that thinks, before I end this, like, what if the internet went out and all the churches blew up, and even all the temples and Hindu stuff just disappeared? Are y'all even gonna know how to articulate or even figure out how to connect with source? Are y'all like, just say if like social media just went away? Can y'all even think about having connecting with the spirit? Like, can y'all even think about this? Like, I think like that. I used to think like this in the military. I always had to think to myself, like, I always try to stay connected, because like when I was out in Iraq and all these places, there is no TV, so I have to have source inside me, which is already in us. You know that. And it's like I always been talking to someone, just like I'm talking to you on this phone, and that's what got me through my day. It's like I just had to trust. It's kind of like without knowing, or seeing without seeing. It's like a seer, like, I might not see, but I know, or I hear, because sometimes just because you see a spirit, that don't mean it's good. That's why I tell you, you gotta use your discernment, that gut reaction. But I hope I didn't burn y'all ears out too long. But if y'all enjoyed the video and y'all stayed in this video this long, if y'all stayed in this video this long, props up to you guys, because I kind of talked 20 minutes longer than I wanted to. I only wanted this to be like a 40-minute, 45-minute video. It is what it is, man. I don't know. But I am going to be back into doing more readings. I don't know if I'm going to be, excuse me. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any more too many videos like this. Because if y'all new to me, I have videos way earlier than this, when I first started the channel, on chakras and all kind of stuff, like aliens and all kind of stuff, and all kind of things. But this one is just an experience video, story time, I guess you could say. But yeah, man, that's all I have to say. With that being said, my name is Knight, and yeah. And I think, before I end this, I might talk about experiences I had with when I was in the astral realm. I had visions of what y'all would call hell, Hades. It was unique experience. I might talk about that. I don't know. It really depends on how I feel, because I'm getting to a point where I don't want to waste my time sharing stuff where I feel like it's not going to be acknowledged, or it's just going to go through people's ear and out. Like, I don't think people are going to really want to sit there and really listen to that. Because some people are just not ready, or just don't care. They don't really care. They just want to hear readings, which is fine. So with that being said, my name is Knight. Blessed to be everybody.